So this is a quick overview just of the banker role for this simulation. So within our flow sheet here, really we're focusing on this portion right here for you as the banker, where you're going to be receiving the cards, checking them, sending them on to the financial analyst, and then if there's a problem, rejecting the cards here, or if the financial analyst rejects the cards here, and letting each group know. So we're just going to focus kind of on this part of the flow diagram here. So really this is what the setup's going to look like. This is the sandbox version, but the actual version is going to look the same. Essentially, mostly you're going to be operating in these two channels, the banker communication channel, which is a public channel, so open to everyone to look at, and then the banker admin channel, which is really just reserved for us as instructors to kind of communicate on the back end. So primarily the negotiators from each group, just like they have done in past years, are going to fill out project cards. And we had them do it manually. This is what the project card, for example, for an ETU might look like. So here we have a project card that was filled out. They put a dot where they want it to go. And I'm going to make videos for the students so they know how to do this. But they fill out a project card. They say what project they want to do and then which different groups are contributing. So in this case, it's the CDC, the World Health Organization, and Partners in Health are contributing to building this Ebola treatment unit. So that's the project card. That's a PDF that they're going to upload. The way I am going to tell them to upload that is within the banker communication channel. So that's a public channel available to everyone. They're going to first be instructed to start a new conversation, click here, and then add a subject line. So they're going to put whatever the project is. So they're going to put ETU at the subject line. Then if they want to start a conversation, they're going to mention someone. So in this case, they're going to mention you, and you're going to be banker. So they're going to say @banker. And they're going to use this one here. It says @banker. So @banker. And they have already a tab. And then they're going to basically put in who's contributing. So this is the the CDC. And they're going to have to say who they are. So they're going to say, so if I'm the CDC, I'm going to say Dan Kamenstein. So I'm representing the CDC and then the WHO. So in this case, we'll say that Dr. Alderman is representing the WHO, so I'm going to make sure that the banker knows that Dr. Alderman is the WHO representative and then Partners in Health. And we're going to say that Lindsay is the Partners in Health. So that way, one person is sending it. So this is me. I'm the CDC. I'm sending it to you as the banker. You're tagged here as @banker, and I'm just letting you know who represent each of these groups. Then what you'll see is the file will get dragged here and then they send it. So once that gets sent to you as the banker, this will show up. A little tag will let you know that you have a new project being done. So each conversation is, as you see, a separate kind of purple area here. So each time they send a new project, the students are going to be expected to start a new conversation. So if you're the banker and you get this, really all you have to do, it's an attached PDF. You just click on it and it will bring up the attached project. You don't really have to do much with this. It's just so you know that you can look at the project card itself. But really your job as the banker then is to make sure that all three groups have actually agreed to what is on this PDF here. So in this case, the initial communication came from me and I'm the CDC. So I didn't tag myself. You can't really tag yourself. So I'm the CDC. So as the banker, all you have to do is check with the other two organizations. So you check on the card. Okay, is it really CDC, WHO, and Partners in Health? Yes, it is. Those are the three. There's no fourth organization. No one's getting left out. So I'm just making sure, okay, those three are the same as these three. Okay, that looks great. So I'm just going to reply to this conversation and I'm going to tag, in this case, I'm going to tag Dr. Alderman. And again, I can use this A to, if you don't use that and you hit enter, you're going to send it. So you want to use that. And then I'm going to tag Lindsay as well and just say, do you agree? So I'm going to reply to this and just ask, and that tagging, again, that @ lets them know that they specifically have a message. I'm going to say, do you agree? And I'm going to send it to them. And then they should both reply yes, yes. You don't have to tag or ask the person who initially sent it. Presumably, if I'm sending it and I say I'm the CDC, then I agree. The thing that I'm going to make sure you have as the banker, once I get a list of who the negotiators are for each group, I'm going to send you a list of which negotiators go with which group. That way you can have that pulled up on the side. So if they send WHO, you can make sure that Judson Alterman actually is the WHO negotiator. Lindsay Ekema is actually the PAH negotiator. Now, they haven't chosen the negotiators yet, so I don't have that list. But as soon as I get that list, I'll send it to you. And then that way you can double check that these people who are representing each group actually are the people who are assigned to do that. So that's, once everyone agrees, your job is pretty much done. The last thing you would do as the banker then would be to send this on to the next person down the road in terms of the project flow sheet. So again, here we are. You've checked that all collaborators agree, yes, and then you send it down the line. And in that case, you send it to Amanda Zabala. She is the financial analyst. Now, in this case, you're not going to send it through the banker communication channel. You're going to go to the banking admin channel. So all you have to do is click on these three dots here and copy get link. You don't have to download the card or anything. You just click get link. You can copy the link. Just use the Microsoft Teams link, not the SharePoint. Microsoft Teams, you just hit copy. And then you go to the banking admin channel here. And then you, again, start a new conversation. Click the little A, and then you're going to say ETU because that's what the project is. You just paste the link itself. So there's the link. Amanda is the financial analyst. So banker approved. And just say something for financial analyst. And that way, Amanda will be able to see this. This is just the PDF that you saw. And you're just going to make sure you tag Amanda and say that you have approved it and that it's for her to review, and then send that off. And then job done for that card. And then you go back here and then take the next card that's submitted. So the nice thing is you can just take them, you can see timestamps and you can just work your way down the list. So if you have multiple projects, even if they all come in back to back to back, you don't have to worry. You just kind of work your way. Okay, start with this one and then make sure everyone agrees and then send it along. You can work your way down to the next one. If things get really bottlenecked, we have a backup, so someone else who can help you as well if they're really getting slowed down. So that's the basic overview of how you are going to operate as the banker. Going back to the flow sheet here, a couple things. So if collaborators don't agree, if someone says no or someone doesn't respond, you basically just send a note back to all of them within that conversation and say, not everyone agrees, project has been rejected. The other component of this is if down the line, when Amanda checks them, they actually don't have the money to afford the project, she's going to reject the project. So you don't have to check that they have the money, you just have to check they agree and send it along. Amanda checks that they have the money. If they don't have the money, she rejects the project. She's going to send you a notice. And that, again, would occur here in the banking admin channel, not the public channel. So you would get a notice in the banking admin channel. She would just, so in our example here, Amanda gets it and she says they can't afford it. So she's going to say, so she would tag you back and say something like not enough resources from WHO, and she would send that along to you and just hit send here. I won't do this so you don't get a notification, but she would just send that along to you, and that would let you know that you then need to go back in your banking communication channel and find that project itself, and then just let everyone know WHO did not have enough resources. This project was not approved. And then you can tag, again, using the @ you can tag the people who are supposed to be here at, I can't tag myself, obviously, but you tag me, you tag Lindsay, you tag Judson, so you tag them. and you'd send that back to them saying it wasn't approved. And so that's how you would reject a project if you'd originally approved it because everyone agreed, but then Amanda found out they didn't have enough money, then that's how you make sure to reject the project. The last component of this is just to remember that there are first and second order projects. So you will have a copy of this as well, but basically first order projects, everything on this first part of the list can be built at any time. Second order projects can only be built once a certain number of first order projects are completed. And here on the side, it says how many first order projects in total need to be done. You don't actually have to keep track of this component. We're going to be keeping track of that on the back end. Your job just as the banker is if you see any of these second order projects, these 4 being proposed early on, and the second order projects have not yet been approved, you need to just say second order projects are not available yet. The way you're going to know is that when we tally them up at the end, and when we put them on the map, we're going to check these off. And as soon as we see that enough of these have been built, so in this case, once we see that 2 ETUs, 1 Ebola Medical Education Center, and 1 nursing school, once we see those are built, we'll send a message saying, hospital can now be built. And if we see that, the 4 ETUs and 2 testing centers are done, we'll send a message to you saying vaccine development lab can now be built. So you'll get a message saying when second order projects are open. But part of that is if you get a project card that has a second order project on it, you just need to be aware, and again, you can use this to say, okay, that's a first order project. You just need to be aware that these, until we say they're open and you get a message, that these should be rejected as well. So hopefully that was understandable. I know it seems complicated. It's hopefully going to be pretty straightforward. If you have any questions, just let me know.